This is my audience.
So, when I was little, I did not care what anybody thought about me. I was just very content doing my own thing and just being my true, authentic self. When I started to get a little bit older, I began to just want to be really, really smart. Like that was like what I wanted the most. So while I cared about while I started to care about what people thought about me, I mostly cared that they thought that I was smart, and it never even occurred to me for them to think and like judge me based on how I looked. I just really wanted them to think that I was smart. But that slowly began to change. Towards like the end of elementary school to the beginning of middle school is when I started to notice my body and like how I looked and started comparing that to those of my peers. And according to Colbert, the best known environmental contributor to the development of eating disorders is the sociocultural idealization of thinness. And so like the idea that I had to be thin was definitely like one of the biggest factors for me thinking this way. And through middle school, it was just always like a constant like competition in my head just for me to be like, I need to be the skinniest, like I need to be the smallest. Like I was pretty average size, I feel like, but like I needed to be the smallest in my head. And that I kept that mindset for like a little over a decade. So it was a big constant in my life. But middle school is where it started. And in high school, it got a lot worse. Just for like a bunch of different reasons, but the main one I think being I joined cheerleading, and a lot of the girls on the team were very skinny, and I quickly realized that they all struggled with their body image and disordered eating as well. And according to Jankowski, among female high school athletes in athletic sports, 41.5% reported disordered eating. So it was very common for girls in sports to have this disordered way of eating. But because we all had it, we kind of fed off of each other's energy, and we made it like a subtle and like I feel like somewhat silent, just like little passive hints, I guess. But there was always like this competition surrounding us, like who's the skinniest, who's the lightest, you know? So there was always that factor playing in. I see it, it made me really, really happy when I would like not eat for a long time and I would feel super light and skinny. And then I would feel really, really bad when I would finally eat after days of not eating because I just felt so happy when I didn't. But I began to not be able to sleep very well. My sleep was really messed up. I would forget things all the time. And I was just like overall like struggling in most aspects of my life. And the lows just became too much. It outweighed the highs a lot more. So I knew that something had to change. So I slowly began to eat more regularly, and that was really hard for me. It made me really sick because my body was not used to eating that regularly, and it hurt me like emotionally to like see my body change in those ways. And it was really hard because a lot of people would still comment on my body. So when I would lose even the tiniest bit of weight, people would say something and that would like trigger something in my brain. So it took me a very long time to just not let those comments affect me in that way. But recovery is not linear. There are so many ups and downs, but I just knew like as long as I was moving forward, like as long as I was moving and I was taking steps, that I was moving forward in my recovery. So